All right, welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus show on Onebar with Lupagus. We got the man in the middle, Alex from Hail Mary Sports. Alex, 16,000 plus subs now.
Wow.
Thank you.
Absolutely murdering it over there.
Mhm.
Mock drafts. He mocks the mocks. He's on a bunch of shows. He does a fantastic job. I love watching Alex. Alex, welcome back. Two-timer to the show.
Thank you. Yeah. Second time around. First is the worst. Second's the best. I got roasted from my window last time, and now we can celebrate it. I love it. Excited.
Yeah, have you ever thought of maybe putting a really nice curtain there, or is it just is what it is?
I have something for you guys.
Really?
What's happening here?
God, this could go
I got
many
a
directions.
massive underdog fantasy flag.
Look at
So it is in the works. If you guys
Love
want
it.
to know.
There we go.
There we
And
go.
he's sporting the Justin Jefferson LSU
Yeah,
jersey, trying to get
Yes,
on
sir.
our good side right out of
Yeah.
the gate. But 16,000, man, congrats!
Thank you
That's
very much.
big.
Well
Yeah,
done.
no, I mean, I literally found out about it like the other day just by someone commenting it. I'm like, really? The hell? So no, it's been awesome. It's been a great journey. So excited to continue that on and maybe get to 20K over the next year. Super excited for that.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna pick the hell out of your brain about the NFL draft.
Ready.
Happy Combine week to you. But we got to talk Kenneth Grant right out of the gate. Lupagus and I absolutely love this dude. We want him in purple more than anything. And I've seen you do some mocks where he's still on the board at 24. But what's your gut? What's your gut as far as percentage chance he could actually be on the board for the Vikings?
So the more I've listened to guys like Connor Rogers, Trevor Sikkema, and then obviously they kind of blend in their perspective with other individuals like Dane Brugler, et cetera, it looks like, because for me, my favorite aspect of Kenneth Grant on top of the athleticism and size is the motor. I think that this guy's going to be acing interviews. I have a very strong inclination that he's probably not going to be there. It's just, it's tough to say where, but I would give it a 30% chance.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I think last year you said we had no shot at Dallas Turner, and we got him. So
I had
we
no
traded
clue.
up. We traded up for him though.
And
yeah,
that-
but, I mean, we were talking at 11, I think, back then.
I know. I mean, it's crazy to me. I still think that Dallas Turner absolutely slipped way too far. But I mean, people make mistakes, and you guys got to benefit off it. I don't think Kenneth Grant has the personality that, like, based on his work ethic, every single play, I sense it might be a little bit of a different story than Dallas, that essentially was looked at as a top guy the whole time.
Let's stick on D tackles for a little bit here. Very deep class. Like, I mean, how deep does it go? Can you get like an impact player even like early day 3 this year?
So that's a great question. It depends on how certain teams view certain players, right? And of course, that's the most BS lawyer answer in like history that I could give. But I mean, there's certain players that I absolutely adore, like Omar Norman Lott. Crazy athlete, crazy potential, but the dude had, I think it was at most 84 run defense snaps in a year over the past 3 years. It was like 60 something, then 82, and then 84. So it's just like, do teams value that? If they don't to that degree, you might be able to get a steal early day 3 because he's a great athlete. He's great in one-on-one. He's a great pass rusher. But this class has a lot of really solid talents, and you might not get yourself an every down starter early day 3. But if you're looking at someone like CJ West, who I had the pleasure of interviewing here in Dallas at the Shrine Bowl, he's a high character dude who had a lot of really good production, even versus the top end teams. I think it's certainly possible. But again, the biggest trick in the draft is understanding how their medicals are and how their interviews are.
Well, you love some Gray Zabel. You got him ranked pretty damn high. Aside from him, how many guards do you think are worthy of that pick at 24?
Booker, I definitely think I have him at number 11 overall on my board, even factoring positional value. Like, the thing is, does Donovan Jackson classify as a tackle or a guard? Like, that's the real thing. Does he come out as a tackle or a guard? If he comes out as a tackle, then obviously he's not really applicable. If he comes out as a guard, I would say right now he's 25th overall on my board, extremely high ceiling. And then I love the fact that, especially since Darsaw is coming off that injury, you have that contingency plan already on the roster. But I mean, outside of those two, you could say Josh Connerly based on how he's had some anchor issues at tackle could be, but like pure guard, it would be Zabel and Booker.
You think Zabel has a chance to go before Booker?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I honestly think that the answer is no, because Zabel is awesome. He's exciting, but Booker's just rock solid. A lot of teams just want consistency at the interior, not as much flash.
Hell yeah. So running back. You mocked running backs to the Vikings early. It's a very deep class, just like D tackles. I mean, I'll ask you this though. Like, what's the difference between taking one in round 1 or waiting? Like, can you find a starter day 2?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the difference is, like for me, when I think the only running back that I've taken to them is Amari and Hampton, right? Mm-hmm. I am a supreme believer in Amari and Hampton to the point where I think he's a blue chip back. So my belief in Amari and Hampton is what classifies him as somebody being worth taking in the first. But when you look at it based on the consensus view, there's no reason to take a running back in the first unless you truly believe he could be a true top 5, top 10 running back in the NFL, which is, I do see that ceiling for him. So you can type one to do.
You going to wear that Jefferson jersey all day? Or are you just going to take it off right when you're done with this?
Oh, dude, I'm taking this off right away. Dude, I don't want to put this to the wash or something. It got
out of a case to wear it today.
Yeah, yep, took it right out of the case, right from the dry cleaners.
Bro, I made it right to the dry cleaners. No, man. I mean, I love this jersey a little too much to wear it too often. I got to keep it fresh for when I do my Vikings 7-rounder.
There we go. Nice. What are you doing that one? I've seen you done a handful.
Yeah, I'm going draft order.
How do you do it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing draft order. I'm doing 1 to 2 a day, pretty much 2 a day, but unless there's something else that pops up for like a Daniel Jeremiah mock, or else I just dropped a top 32 receiver video. So it's like, that's going to take a little bit of a priority, but my goal is to get all of them done before March 10th. So when free agency hits, because I want to do one after for every team.
Hot damn. Who's a guy that maybe I'll add 2 parts to this. Who's a guy that you feel everybody's kind of sleeping on, whether that's a first round or wherever, and maybe it's the same guy, but who's a guy that you like a lot more than anybody else?
Ooh, okay. So I'll answer the second one first, because there's a corner that I love in this draft named Jalen Smith. USC corner. I think of him like I was a big Andrew Phillips guy last year. Like, I don't know if we discussed that last year, but it was just somebody who I had him as number 9 on my board. Is he going to be the number 9 overall player when you look in retrospect? Probably not. But at the same time, pre-draft, I fell in love with him, and he's ended up being well worth, like, he's at least a top 32 guy in the class. I think very similarly of Jalen Smith. He's a guy who played slot corner for 2 years, ended up transitioning to the boundary this year. Very smart in zone coverage, very feisty in terms of man. His only issue is that he's still developing in terms of covers, quarters, as well as deep thirds. So I think that there's certainly some room for growth there. But I mean, holistically, I got to meet him in Mobile as well. Great player, great dude as well. He came from a rival high school, so we ended up having some good jousts there. But looking at a player who I think is being severely underrated, I'll go down the board a little bit so you guys like to be able to get a little bit more than just the top dudes in the class. But, the wide receiver class, honestly, Jimmy Horn Jr., if you want to get some good depth guy, I have him. He's pretty much the sale version of Antonio Brown for me. Like, I love him to death. Like, and I'm a Steelers fan. So it's like, for me, that's pretty damn high praise. And let's see. I want to see one more guy to give you guys one more depth player that I like far more than other people. You know what? I think I'll say this for a vision for a player, Jahad Campbell. I don't think he's a linebacker. I think he's going to be a good one, but I think that his best aspect is as a full-time edge rusher. Number 1 edge in his high school class. And then he had transitioned to linebacker at Bama because of how deep their room was. But this dude has the freakiest bend in the class, and he's the best timing for jumping the snap that I've ever seen.
Damn. Lupagus was number 1 tight end in Minnesota in 1997.
Really?
No.
Wasn't. Man, you can't get me like that. You know I'm going to be gullible on this shit.
No. He did get a fluky touchdown once, though, so that was cool. All right, so I'll put the inverse of that. Who's someone who's getting way too much love? When you see him rank, kind of like, oh my God, what the hell?
Ooh, damn, that's a good. Okay, this is gonna get me some flack, but I'm just gonna be honest. He still is a top 64 player on my board. Luther Burden, like I think so. I'll say Luther Burden and Ben Morrison, because Ben Morrison's going to be more translatable for what you guys are going to be talking about. I want to be able to talk about him there. But for Luther Burden, he had a down year, but he's just been consistently solid. I don't like the consistency of effort on his plays. You can kind of tell when he's going to be a primary read, and he kind of takes off the reps where he is going to be more so second, third, fourth read. So not a huge fan of that myself. But the big one for me is Ben Morrison, and this is a bigger issue that I've seen in this class, is people are having the complaints about certain players that they're not applying to every single prospect. So for Siobhan Ravel, tore his ACL, really one game that's translatable, which was 2023 week 1. All of a sudden, kind of that's all thrown out the window. The guy's still considered a first-round pick. But then when Ben Morrison, who was kind of a top 5 to 10 player coming into the year, gets a hip injury mid-year while still facing number 1 wide receivers, he all of a sudden is just like, people are saying he might even go 3rd round. So like, I'm just saying, oh, you were saying the guys who I like more. My bad. The guys who I like less than the consensus. But there you go. There's my round.
I like this. Keep going.
Yeah, no, with Ben Morrison. Well, I guess I could flip it. Siobhan Ravel. There you go. Siobhan Ravel is not getting the criticism equally that Ben Morrison is for that season-ending injury. But I'll say maybe another one I'll toss in there. And again, I still like this player, so I want to put a big asterisk here, is Mike Green. People are talking down about James Pierce for off-the-field concerns. Let's just say there's some stuff going on that there's a reason why he had to leave University of Virginia. And the reason why it's not public is because there's a person who has to be protected through anonymity. Usually when that happens, not a good sign. And from what I've heard, not going to confirm it, but from people who I trust, it's not good. But for some reason, James Pierce is falling, but Mike Green is not. So I would just say like there's a little bit of inequity with how people apply criticisms in this draft. And that's why
with Morrison in the hip, is it just because it's a hip, and that's maybe more chronic of an injury? That's why people are concerned.
Yes. I mean, but again, they're taught like people just have no negative on Revel for having the hip injury or for having the ACL tear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we didn't even get to see him at the Shrine. So it's not like he's back to 100% and we got to see him in that competition. I'm not trying to crap on Siobhan Ravel, but I'm saying that the criticisms for season-ending injuries, granted, yes, there's a difference between a hip and an ACL. It's not remotely equitable between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen your videos about, your thoughts on Ravel and like when it comes to cornerbacks with Morrison and Ravel, like who are your dogs at corner? Like at 24, I mean, who would you be comfortable if you're Kwesi, Vikings GM?
Yeah, so Morrison, if he's there, again, medicals have to check out. That's the biggest thing. But I heard from Trevor Sikkema that he heard some positive news about the hip. So it looks like the medicals are going to be fine. So I'm assuming that when I say Ben Morrison, I would also go Azareye'h Thomas. Azareye'h Thomas is insane. He's like 6'2", around that 198 to 200-pound range, and he's going to fly. Top-end speed, he's insane. I would say his biggest issue is accelerating out of his break. And like when he ends up trying to go into a break. But I ended up talking to somebody who was actually working with Azareye'h, and it was pretty much due to pad level. So I think probably something you can work on, because I saw it even in person at SMU. He ended up performing phenomenally. Got to meet him there in Mobile as well. Really chill dude, super low ego, like maybe high ego on the field, but like low ego in terms of personality. He's a guy who I'm willing to bet on.
Don't mention any names, but do you ever, like when you're at the East West or Senior Bowl, whatever, you ever just walk away like, man, that guy was a dick?
Oh, 100%.
Like that guy. Really? Is there a lot of the guys down there just don't give you a time of day?
Oh yeah. I mean, there are some genuinely stuck up individuals.
Does that involve so your rankings? Do you change your rankings based off if he's an asshole or not?
There is one player who I genuinely did that. I will admit, I dropped him 100 spots because of it. I kid you not. Yeah, genuinely. Because
Gray Zabel must be a great guy then.
Yeah.
I luckily did not have a bad interaction with Gray Zabel, but I will say the player who I did drop, I had 3 bad experiences with, twice on Twitter and then 1 in person. So I'm just like, that's it. I was like, no more. So it's very rare though. Honestly, there's a lot of guys who are very humble, very excited for the opportunity. And I will admit, it wasn't even at the Senior Bowl that the player who was very stuck up was. So it's not like they're a high profile player. Like there's somebody who's genuinely trying to get a shot in the NFL. And I'm like, like, let's not be like that, man. Let's not do that. But yeah, I mean, if for guys like CJ West, like I'll shout out dudes' characters all day long. Like I ended up just bringing on Konate Mumfield from Pittsburgh, wide receiver. Great dude. Like I'll give those guys shout outs because I love players who actually have good personalities. There are ones I've even brought on my show that I actually have not posted the interview because I just genuinely didn't like what they were saying or what they were. Yeah. I mean, like I'm not going to be someone that you just put on to be able to like push around and, push your own agenda. If you're not going to be a genuine dude, sorry. Like, I'm here to promote guys I believe in. So,
well,
yeah.
if you don't see it, if you see if this isn't posted, then you know how we feel about it.
Wow, what a dick. We're not going to post this thing. No way in hell.
You know what? I respect it. It's your guys' show. I can be a dick sometimes. It's okay.
All right. Well, I think we mentioned, I don't know if it was before we started this or during the show, but it's Combine Week. So who do you expect to be some guys who are just rising up the charts this week after the Combine?
Yeah, so I think the big one is Nick Eamon-Warry, safety out of South Carolina. He's going to be 6'3". Probably, I assume he'll drop to 220 because 230 is ludicrous as it is. But if he is somehow 230, he's listed 227. He's like, I saw him. He never got beat deep. I could see him running in the 4.3s easily. And then at that frame, he's overly explosive. I mean, he has the pick six ability as well. So he just has everything that you can kind of want. So combine freak, 100%. Another player I could see that's a depth player that like not many people think about is Dante Thornton Jr. Like he's 6'5", like 215, and this dude is built like a brick shit house. Like he is insane. So I could totally see him being an absolute combine monster and, intriguing teams for that deep speed as time progresses. Gray Zabel, I mean, we see the athleticism in person. I could totally see it continuing to do so. And I heard Ashton Genty is supposed to run like, okay, it's NFL rookie watch. Let's take it with a grain of salt. But 4.35 to 4.5 or 4.45, like that is an insanely solid range. If he somehow gets into the low 4.4s, could easily see him solidifying himself as a legit top 10 pick, not even being able to slip to 12.
Two quickies to finish her off here. What's the shittiest position in this draft?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the quick answer would be quarterback, depending on what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for a franchise guy, you're just going to have a lower probability of having that in this class. Shitty. I would say center for sure. Unless I know, I hate to say it, but dude, all the centers ended up going back to school. You got like Parker Brailsford, Jake Slaughter. Like these dudes were just like, peace. So you have to get out of position guys to go to center, like Zabel, like Savagnier. And so definitely that. And then outside of it, you could talk about linebacker but I mean, I personally think there's some really solid dudes there. So it's a good class. I think it's being heavily underrated, but again, it's just based on the dudes who decide to go back to school. Center and quarterback kind of got eviscerated that way.
All right. Once again, we got Alex from Hail Mary Sports. Get your butts over there. Give him a sub. You're posting all the time. Give us the scoop the next couple of months. What's your plans? And you got a draft. Do you have a draft day routine? Do you have to like watch the movie Draft Day before the night before? Like what's your routine here?
So I'm going to debate on whether I do this year, but it was something I did a couple years ago and I really like it and I might continue to do it. It's not economical at all, but I get a bottle of Dom Perignon and I pretty much like drink it every time that like something good or bad happens. My buddy and I ended up, well,
so
we did it every time.
Just constantly drinking, yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was horrific, but luckily it's over a long enough period of time to where it was funny. I didn't drink for a year before that. Like I rarely ever drink. And then I bought a bottle of Dom and I just forgot about the fact you can't really plug those. So I'm like, shit. So literally during the first round, I was like, oh my God. And then, it was $2.02 I made from that video for a $200 bottle of wine. That was
worth it.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
I still have the bottle, so it has long-term value. But yeah, I would say that like I'll probably try to do that again just because it's a tradition.
That's beautiful. I'd love to see shit-faced Alex draft.
Dude, I'm fun, man. I'm allergic to alcohol too, so you get to see the enjoyment right away. Like I turn into I look at like the Red Hulk half of the time when I am just taking a couple steps. Oh yeah, but it's great. Dude, I'm a great date, man. I'm cheap on a budget. Like the girl can end up getting as many drinks as she wants. Like I'm chilling with one.
Guys,
it's
we just sell himself here on this vid. Too bad we have like 3 female viewers, so.
Hey, it's more than my videos, man. That's a start.
we would get all the dirt on the guys who have given you shit and the guys you've dropped in your rankings because they're asses. But
that's after the show.
Yeah, do it. Get that bottle, man. Get that bottle.
Oh, I will.
Give Alex a sub. We'll be tuning in like we always do. Alex, we appreciate it, man, and fantastic work on your channel.
Thank you so much. It was always fun to be on here, man. Appreciate it.
Dropping on.